Hello everybody and welcome to the July 2024 update from Clydebridge station. I'm starting the video not at the layout but actually here at Leven railway station, one of two new additions to the National Rail network. Closed in 1970 by Dr. Beeching, well after his plans were implemented. The line was retained for traffic to the Metal Power Station. Once Metal Power Station closed, the campaign, the Leave and Mouth Rail Link campaign, got into full swing, and their efforts have been rewarded with a reopening of their line in June 2024. The video to this new line, or certainly my video, is linked in the top right hand corner of the screen now. And you never know, if you have a look around, it might give you some ideas for a possible layout for yourselves. Speaking of layouts, in this month's update we're going to be taking a look at replacing the tracking platforms 2 and 3 at Clydebridge station, getting some more concrete laid down in the depot area, and doing a couple other bits and bobs using existing resources. As usual, there will be the shout outs to the various layouts during the programme, and I'll start off with the two usual suspects that got me back into modelling all those years ago: Everard Junction and Dean Park Station. And as Clydebridge Station is a proud partner of the Wrangler clothing company, also ask you to go and check them out, wrangler.com. Take you to the appropriate local website in your territory. I haven't got my whistle with me today, but hey ho, not to worry. If you're all ready for this month's journey, then all aboard and enjoy the programme. And please, any comments, queries or suggestions, leave them in the comments box below. Now, I don't know how well the camera can pick this up underneath the light, but you can see that I started to convert this box into a little storage box for some of the locomotives. But I've now had a little change of idea. I'm going to be measuring, and I'll just turn the camera here, what the height is from here to the ground, because I'm thinking maybe getting a 3-tier drawer storage unit, plastic one, and then I could put the locomotives in that. Doing it this way, I've got to lift I might have to lift that up and could move the locos about quite a bit, and whereas with the drawer unit I just need to pull a drawer out. So I'm going to be doing that, getting that measured up. I'll keep this box, however. I'll probably take the track back up out of it. I've copied it down, so fingers crossed I can get that back up. And then I'll just start using these boxes for storing materials in. Yep. And there's a lot of rubbish I've got to try and get rid of as well. Now this month, as I say, I'm going to try and use some existing resources that I have to get jobs done, and one of them is here. Now this, I'll just move this carefully. This piece here is absolutely fine. This piece isn't quite fine because you could see there I've got the curve a little bit wrong. But luckily I've got one more piece of this modelling card to that thickness. I found it when I was tidying that box out. I'm going to have another go at making one of these just to get it to fit in there. And if I can get them right, I'm then going to go and put the concrete sheets on. That's going to be the first task, and if I can get all that done, then any concrete sheets I've got spare will be ideal for covering in these gaps here. And if I just put that down there, you can see there as well the difficulties that I've got there at the moment. That's what I'm going to be doing for the first part of this update. One other thing I'll just briefly mention to you right now is I'm not going to extend it over this way. Obviously I've got the point controls there, so I'm quite happy where it is right now, and it will stay there. So it gives me a chance to start getting this a little bit tidy up. I think this might actually be part of the theme for this update, this July update. Tidy up time, that's what we used to get it from Mrs. Billsland and Mrs. Drennan at primary school in the 80s. It's tidy up time, kids. So it's maybe tidy up time here as well, just a little bit. So I'll take this off now and make a start on getting another one cut. There we go, that's the new one cut. Now it does slew away a little bit from the track here, but I'm quite happy to live with that because it's a much smoother line than what was previously there. The task I've got now is to actually get the concrete sheets onto these and then get them glued into position. I can't put barriers on these ones like what I've done up here, or will be doing again up here, for the simple reason that obviously I've got the overhang of the coaches. And by the way, while I was cutting that, I'd already put droplets of water onto the point work at leading into platforms 2 and 3, so I could start to remove the track and ballast for the part later on in the video. Two layouts to please check out, West Blythe MPD and March West TMD, March West Junction. You'll find them both here on YouTube. That's the two pieces now done and in position. What I've got to do, once I've glued them down, is get another piece of scale model scenery TX199 concrete sheet, a small strip, and put it over there so it could hide that join. And I'm just going to lift this up and show you how I've done, how I've done it. I had to use 2 bits of sheet, but I was actually quite lucky that I only used the 1 sheet. There's 5 in a pack to do these 2. You can just see a little join there, but underneath, to get the curve done, I don't know how well the camera can pick that out, but I made little notches that didn't go right up, so I didn't take the notches out, and then I glued the notches in with that, along with the longer pieces, just like a V-shaped notch. Just fold it in as you go. I'll leave the buffer stop in place now. Actually, I'll take it out, it'll be easier to do this bit, because once this goes in and is glued in, I'll then be able to actually put a little bit of ballast in here. However, I'm not going to go and ballast all the way up the side in here to the points yet, because I've got walkways to get put in. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll just be putting ballast probably up to near the point, say here, and then we'll take it from there on in. I should add as well that I will be getting new buffer stops eventually, the Gauge Master style ones, as you can see down at the fueling point area. There's Gauge Master buffer stops there. They'll also be getting used in the station. Check out Wood Hill Parkway on YouTube, and check out Eden Road TMD on Facebook and Twitter. I'm calling it Twitter even though it's now called X. So check those 2 layouts out, and check out and Nick Mullins, rugby union and tennis commentator. If you give him a check out please as well on Twitter. There we go, so that's the joining piece in place there. I'm very lucky that I actually had those sheets in my equipment drawer. I've just simply glued all these concrete bits on with Yoo-hoo glue, and then glued it down to the baseboard with Yoo-hoo glue as well. And I wouldn't recommend using PVA because I don't really think it's good enough for that purpose, and definitely don't use Pritt stick. I'm going to show you why. Just have a look how disastrous that turned out up there using Pritt stick. That'll all be getting redone over the next couple of years, by the way, getting new pavement sections down. But anyway, back to here. I've got the tower to put in here, the lighting tower, which you can see here. I've got a second one, and that'll then go in there, and that'll complete this bit here for the concrete. But I'm not going to put that in right now. I'm just going to give that a couple of hours to dry, because although the Yoo-hoo glue does dry in quite quickly, I'd rather give it that extra bit of time. Now, with the concrete in place there, I think it's only fair that the next step I take is to go over here and sort out the concrete bits here. It's like I'm going to have a piece of concrete going up there to cover this bit first, and cover the joins there. Now the only difference I've got to watch is that it might be a slightly different shade of concrete. I can't do anything about that. Scale model sceneries, printing processes, it's like wallpaper. you'll get different batches. Now I'm very fortunate here in that the fueling point, the fueling tank will cover some of it, but as you can see, not all of it. And by the way, the stuff that I'm using here from Scale Model Scenery and Western Wagon Works, I'll put the links into the description below. Now while I'm talking about Scale Model Scenery, if you haven't already thought about doing so, please check out the Railway Modellers Club, which is run by Scale Model Scenery. There is an annual charge for using it, and there's two different levels of membership: the standard membership or the first class membership, which gives you a lot more options. I'm a standard member. Now the prices will vary. What I'll do is ask you to go and check out the Railway Modellers Club. There should be a link to it from the Scale Model Scenery website if you're looking at the stuff that I'm using, but otherwise, excuse me, go and check out the link that's in the description below. That's the strips and parts all down. You can tell a difference between them at points. However, what I'm planning to do is, I've got the track weathering stuff that I bought in the Hatton's closing down sale, and I might actually weather the concrete in parts to try and hide the bits. I suppose you could also use, if you so wished, Tamiya weathering powders. I'll just put that back in place now. There we go. Now, there are bits where you can see joins. There's a couple of bits that I've missed, but I'll get them later on. Because I've also, if I bring the camera up here, I've also still got to go and do this whole area here as well. So still quite a bit to do in terms of putting the concrete down. But I've only used a second sheet, so for this and all that, to have used 1 7/8 of a sheet is brilliant. Now I want you to check out a venue that recently, at the time of filming, celebrated its first birthday, Cowboy and Co, which is in Blackpool. It's a country music venue, so you'll definitely need Wrangler jeans to go to that. Now you'll find that on Facebook, but you'll also find it on Instagram, Cowboy and Co BPL. It's in Blackpool, and two regulars who perform there. You'll find these two gentlemen both on Instagram as Scott Slattery, Ben Froggatt. Now that is BENN, by the way, for Ben. They both perform there, and Ben is also in a band called 5 O'Clock Somewhere, and again you'll find that on Instagram as well. I'm going to just show you over here what's I'm going to be doing now, and that is, you can see I've already got some of the track and ballast up here, but I need to get the whole lot up. So that's what I'm going to be doing next in the background, whilst I'm doing other tasks as well, and that is getting this up, all that up, ready to start laying down some new stuff. And I just want to point out, you'll have noticed that I've moved the departure board, and then it's caused a little bit of damage there to the base sheet. That's not a problem, because when I come to do these, I will be ordering some more walling as well, base walling as well, so it's not a problem at all. And you can see it's the same things happen there too. So again, not a problem. This will be getting replaced anyway, so it's not a big issue. What is a big issue is having to get the track up in the first place, obviously. So I'll carry on with this in the background whilst off camera whilst I'm doing other jobs, and that leads me back to the depot for the next bit that I'm going to be doing using existing resources, and that is putting down a little bit more ballast. Once the ballast laid down in this part of the depot area, I've went round the track a couple of times with a flathead screwdriver and just went down one side of the inner bit of the rail and up the other. That way it keeps it free of ballast, and I've got to just take my finger and take some of that ballast up, and that could go elsewhere. I'll do the rest of that off camera, of course, and just get that tidied up a bit. You've got to remember though that this is a depot area, so the track is not going to be in as good a condition as what it would be on the main line area. And I'll also get it tidied up a little bit at the sides. Again, we're talking about a depot area, not a main line area. What's going to go in here is a little drop off the thin scatter ballast that'll go in there afterwards. So I'll continue doing this off camera, and then what I'll do is show you what the PVA mixture that I'm going to do. Now I'm only going to do this area because, for instance, down here I've decided I'm going to have to install some more dropper wires to provide some power here. So that's going to be a task that I'll have to do, and I've also noticed that track is bouncing up a little bit there, so I'll have to be very mindful of that. Nothing that a little bit of glue can sort out there though, because it's only the underside bit of the rail. So yep, that's something that I will have to keep an eye on. So that's why I'm only ballasting this area here. This siding has been partly glued down, as is this bit, so it's just some approaches into the area. But as I say, I'm going to be putting dropper wires in here, so it'll give us additional power into these areas here. Again, I've got the bits that will be on order for that later on. Now whilst I'm here, I just want to point out as well that these are going to stay in place, but the walkways that will go over the track and that, I've got them to install later on. I haven't made my mind up yet whether to put them in and then put the ballast scatter round them, or do it the other way around, put the scatter down first and then put the walkways on the track. But it's not going to be a problem anyway, because it would obviously be over ballasted track, so that's not an issue. Let me know what you think in the comments what I should do with that, because that's going to be a job for much later on. I don't have any at the moment. So right now, as I film this right now, it's getting quite late on, so I'll need to go and get my food made up for my supper of the night. So it'll be the next morning that I'll be coming down to put the glue down, but you won't have to wait that long. You just have to wait a few seconds. Now it's the next morning and I'm ready to go and put the PVA on the ballast. Before I've done that, this is the old Lima Mark II Mark 1 BG from the TransPennine train, and what I've done was run it up and down this two sidings a couple of times. It's just managed to couple itself up to 37401, probably the first time ever that the Class 37 has hauled a Mark 1 TransPennine BG in Scotland. But yeah, anyway, I'll try and find something to uncouple that with. I'll do it in a minute. But yeah, I ran the TransPennine coach up and down the two sidings a couple of times. The only problem I've got, and I've just got to watch this here, is that is a little bit tight now. That's the only thing I've got to watch. Now, what I'm thinking of doing is being very careful, checking this out again at the end that point. Once the ballast is dried, it'll take a few days to dry, and then after it is dried, I'll be able to run the TransPennine coach up it again, make sure everything is okay, give the track a clean, and then get a locomotive tested on it. It's your standard mixture that modelers use for gluing the ballast down. PVA glue with tap water, 50-50 mix, and a little bit of washing up liquid, just a little drop, and that usually helps it penetrate through. What you'll find will happen is that you'll see the ballast possibly moving out a bit. Get a piece of card or a scrap bit of SMS modelling card, and you can always push it back in a little bit. Once you've got it all down and glued, leave it. Don't be tempted to then touch it after that. Leave it to dry. The the way to apply it, there's two ways to do that. The way I do it is using a syringe. You can get these out of Boots the Chemist. The alternative way to do it, well, that's to use a little squeezy bottle. David Watson from Dean Park Station does that. He uses a little squeezy bottle. The only thing with a syringe, of course, is that it could actually jet out suddenly and squirt your ballast, blow your ballast away, so just be very careful with that. I'm going to do this off camera, get the ballast glued down, and what I'll then do is show you the finished article. Now in this case, what I mean by the finished article is the ballast after the PVA is glued down. And by the way, if you've got your layout in a shed or garage and you've got a water butt, you might be tempted to just use the water out of the water butt. I wouldn't actually suggest doing that. Fine for this bit over here where I'm taking up the old tracking ballast, but not fine for doing this because you can actually get slime and muck coming out of it, and it could actually cause some damage to the ballast, make it all look very unsightly and unrealistic indeed. So always use tap water, never use water out of a water butt for gluing down ballast. That's the PVA mix now down on the ballast, and that'll take a few days to dry. You'll notice that it's actually seeped through a bit onto the modelling card and the concrete. Don't worry about that, obviously that's to be expected. What I can tell you is it will dry absolutely fine. I talk from experience of it having happened on the depot road, so do not worry about that one bit. Now you can see at that point still a little bit tight, but there we go, I've got it into that position now. I'm going to leave it in that position where it'll take trains into that siding. Once the ballast is dried, as I say, I'll get a screwdriver and just run up and down the rails again, then give them a clean, and then test it with a coach going up first before finishing off by putting the a locomotive in, just to test everything out. Now I've got scatter material that I'm going to put in here, but I'm not going to add that until the ballast is dried. And you notice, as I say, it's a little bit rough here, but remember this is a depot, so it's not going to be as tidy as on the main line. Don't worry about in depot areas bits of ballast on the sleepers and that. Remember, I'm going to be covering these over with oil spill kits from Hatton, so that will disguise that a bit. Obviously at some point in the future I'm going to do this siding as well, where the 08 sits, get the track all cleaned and that, and then get it ready for taking trains again. Track could do with a bit of a clean, so that'll be something I'll do with the Track Magic and the rail cleaning wagon. And we've got these dropper wires to put on. That's why I haven't ballasted any further. There's a golden rule that I will give you right now for ballasting. Ballast what you can, not what you want. I would love to go and ballast all around here, but I've got other things to put on first, like dropper wires, etc. So that's my golden rule to you. Ballast what you can. I can ballast this bit, I can't ballast anymore. Don't ballast what you want. Later on in the programme we'll come back and have a check out of this and see how it's dried, and then I'll do some filming of a locomotive testing out and let you see if it's worked or not. And I'd rather let you see it working or not working, so you get an idea of how things are. What I'm going to do now is head over to platforms 2 and 3 and we'll have a look at how we're doing getting the old track up. Now it does look an absolute mess, I know, but this is what happens when you've got to take up old ballast, an old track. Water with a little drop of washing up liquid in, squirt it down with a syringe, similar to what you're doing with the gluing the ballast in, but you've not put any PVA down. And what I'm going to have to do is get the dustpan and brush and sweep all that up, and then get a hoover down vacuum cleaner down, sorry, other brands of vacuum cleaner are available, and get all that, what's left, sucked up and carry on to the next bit. And I've kept the track work so I can go into my local model shop and get the required bits of track that will go down here. What I certainly do now know is I'm going to get 4 lengths of flexi track, 2 for each platform, along with this stuff. So that's what I know I'm going to get. I need to get this all cleared away first so I can see what I'm working with, and obviously I'll get more water down here. Of course, this track has been copy decks down. The track in the depot was pinned down, but the track here that I'm taking up was pinned down, so I've got the added complication of finding the pins, there's one there for instance, and removing them. Not too worried about the damage getting done to these platforms now, because that's going to be a job that I'm going to do, as well as actually start replacing the platforms, and you'll see more of that in a later programme. I've mentioned already the Railway Modellers Club in this video, so it's well worth having a check out of that. I'd also suggest as well that you check out the Scottish Railway Modellers private group on Facebook, and especially if you are modelling in Scotland, and demonstrate to them what you're doing. One other problem I've just noticed, as you can see here, is that my scraping has moved to ScotMid, but that's all back in position now. These haven't been tested yet. I've still got to actually put the new, reinstall the dropper wires on there. That's a job that will come, but I have a new soldering iron to do that as well. I have installed, and I'll take the camera down here, and it took a hell of a long time because the solder wasn't working at first, but I've got dropper wires on platforms 4 and 5. In particular, very important for platform 5 because obviously we're losing power here. So we've got 47715 Haymarket right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a camera down here. Now remember, prior to me putting the dropper wires in on platform 5 at the buffer stop ends, trains were getting up to the point and then they were losing power. Let's see what happens now with Haymarket. Now they've got the dropper wires installed. Problem solved. Off camera I was doing some testing and it did go over the points, no problem. Where it did have a problem was here going into platform 6, but what's now interesting is it's actually going a lot further. It's actually going just beyond the point and then losing power. So I reckon my solution is a very simple one. Dropper wires at the end of platform 6, and then that should be that done. Now obviously the dropper wires are that I'm going to install will just be the same ones that I've got from Express Models. However, your local model shop will probably have dropper wires as well. They'll sell these sorts of things, so do check your local model shop out. Now I have to say I'm very pleased that I've finally got platform 5 operational along with platform 4. I'm not putting any trains back in there yet, because what I'm going to next do is I'll lift Haymarket into platform 6 for the moment, and I'll get the vacuum cleaner down and hoover up all the excess waste that's lying around here from my removal of the old ballast. Also, while I'm at it, excuse me, while I'm actually at it down here, I must explain as well that I will be then putting the cork down onto platforms 2 and 3, and then installing the new track onto platforms 2 and 3. And that'll be then those done, and once that's done, I'll then install dropper wires down once the copy decks is fully dried on the track into platforms 2 and 3. I use dropper wires at the end. The platform edges, the walls, are all torn on platforms 1 and 2. Not a problem, because that's going to be they'll be getting taken up anyway and replaced with new stuff. So, excuse me, not a problem there. So it's very, very good that at least I've actually got some wires, some power now going into platforms 4 and 5 properly, and it just leaves the problem of platform 6. Hopefully we don't have any issues with platforms 2 and 3, but there is now a solution available for that, which I'm going to do anyway, and that's install dropper wires onto platforms 2 and 3. And just to actually let you see, if you go this is a device that Craig sent me at New Durham Junction, and it should light up if there's any power. Now I'm going to do it this way just to make absolutely certain. And there you go, I think you can see there's the bulb lighting. Now if I move Haymarket back again down the track a little bit, so you might just be able to see this. So as a locomotive that squares a circle, that Haymarket. Network South East livery, but with its Scottish name retained, although I'm actually told that Haymarket is also part of the West End Theatre District in London, so an appropriate name for Network South East. So we've got no power there, as you can see. The bulb is not lighting up. If I come to here, it doesn't light up, but if I come to here, where are we now? Hopefully you can see. And there we go. Still no power there, but you can see power there. That's there. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll get dropper wires put into platform 6 and I'll get that done. Now that device was supplied to me by Craig Mason, and that gives me an ideal opportunity for another layout shout out. Check out New Durham Junction, run by Craig Mason. He's in the northeast of England. He's got a right good Geordie twang and a very helpful chap indeed, so go check him out. I'll need to now turn the power off again, which we'll do now. And my next task is to put the cork down and get that weighed down, and that's something put down with PVA glue. And then once that's dried, and it doesn't take too long to dry, I'll then install the new track with the copy decks and weigh that down. That takes a little bit longer to dry, however. It takes I'll take a couple of days to dry. And then I'll then actually test it, install the dropper wires at that end, test it again, install the dropper wires in here, test it again. They say things happen in 3, so why not do 3 tests, eh? There's my little device in here, by the way, which you can see just how tight that is for space. That was out of B&M in Glenrothes, so quite a useful device. You could have the locomotives actually closer together, and I probably will on the top shelf. I might actually end up buying another one of these at some point, but there you have it. And whilst we're on the topic of the locomotives, there's the Class 60 from Hornby. I can now reveal to you that next year a coal subsector liveried Class 60 will be arriving at Clydebridge station, and this will be the Acura scale version, and I intend to actually give a full video looking at the Acura scale version and also comparing it to the Hornby offering, which is a few years old now, and just seeing how the two of them compare. Well, with all 6 platforms now in place, we're about to do another test. I've done some tests off camera, and you'll see some copy decks down because I've been noticing some little problems with the track. See, it's a little bit of bounce on there, and that seems to have something to do with the power as well. We still have the problem with the power, Now, what we'll do is I'll get 47701 to come along. And you can see there what's been happening. Now the other issue is when we go the other way. You can see there, so it is a little annoying. I don't know how else I can resolve it short of getting new track in, setting new points in, and that may be the option I'll have to choose. But as I say, we have got the 6 platforms sort of operational, and just to prove that, I'll just send 47475 out a little bit, just to show you there. What I haven't done here, but I will do it off camera, is reinstate these dropper wires here. The dropper wires that are going to go in here, I won't put them in until during the August update, because by doing so I'll have this platform section away as part of the August update for the rebuild. I'll just get 47475 to propel its coaches back in a little bit. And platform 3 is fully operational as well. By the way, it'll be very rare for locomotives to be towards the buffer stops on platform 6, so as long as they can get around this part here, that's what the main thing I'm happy about. Now I'll give you a quick shout out to a band from Dunfermline who have just started following on Instagram, Moonlight Zoo. I'll put the link to their Instagram in the description below. And whilst I'm also here on the topic of electrics, you'll see that I've actually installed a second dropper wire here, although not very well, so I'm going to have to add more solder to that later on. Again, that'll be an off-camera job just to see if it can work. The real challenge will be getting the shunter to operate into here, because obviously the sleeper stock will have to be shunted into here, as will the parcels train stock, so there is a lot to do. It's quite appropriate that that we've got the track sorted now, because obviously things do take their time, and it was very appropriate to get the track sorted at the same time that it was announced that Cavalix were a Cura scale sorry were bringing out the class 60, because it'll need a track to run on, so that's quite pleasing. Before we turn our attention to the depot for the last part of this month's update, I want to just draw your attention to a problem up here that I'll try and resolve. This was really to hold on the old retaining wall. I'll need to try and take that off somehow, and I'm thinking about a flower bed going in there instead, or keeping this on and making it into a flower bed. That is going to take place when the retaining wall gets put in, and I know you won't actually see it much, but I want to get that absolutely right nevertheless. So that'll be something you'll see in the a future update. It's unlikely it'll be in the August update, so you'll more than likely see that come the perhaps September, October update. For the last part of this month's update, we're going to head back to the depot and start installing some existing resources, and also look at getting a siding weathered. You may have seen earlier on in the filming that I had 47628 in this siding here. I've now took her out, although it did stop on here, so I'm ready to give the track a good clean, but I'm also at some point going to install dropper wires and try and get that copy decks down here. The majority of the track in the depot is actually pinned down. It's too late now, I can't change it now, so I reckon that's what I'm going to have to do, just simply copy decks the rest of the track down, and then that'll be that, and then install dropper wires at a later date. What I'm going to do here now is install, or rather put down, the Hatton's oil spill kit. Now, the oil spill kit consists of the powder and the actual oil spill solution, and you've already seen me using it in a previous video, and David Watson at Dean Park has also used it as well, so I won't go into repeating it. You'll also notice that when I put the PVA water mixture down, it has actually made a stain there. I don't know how well the camera can pick that up. There's a bit of a stain there. Not a bad thing in one sense, because obviously it makes it look a bit more, shall we say, worn, and depots aren't always clean. But I'm going to end up putting on here the Hatton's track grime kit. Well, it's a track grime solution. I'll get one out of the bag, the box that it came in. And now, this was from the Hatton's closing down sale. Now notice that Rails of Sheffield don't actually market this at the moment. I would like them to do so. Now, it simply says, can be mixed with PVA glue for more hard wearing finish. And you apply that to the track. What I'm actually going to do is dry brush it onto the concrete areas here, but I will test it first of all by doing a practice on another scrap piece that I've got before applying it onto here, and it'll likely be around this bit and this bit and getting it faded in so the middle part's quite clean. Also, while that's drying, this tower from Scale Model Senior will be getting reinstated there. I haven't made my mind up yet about a third tower back here, but that's obviously something I've got plenty of time to think about. The only thing that's possibly stopping me from doing that is, in real life, would that actually shine onto the track, the main lines there? That's the only thing. So, folks, give me your thoughts on that. I'll go ahead and start applying the powder. It'll be an operation I'll have over quite a few days, but as I always say, with the benefits of YouTube and editing, you don't have to wait that long. But if you are wanting to wait that long, go and check out a guy from Redditch in the West Midlands. He's a piano player and he's been billed as the next Elton John. His name is Sam Ostler. He plays the piano, and he's a very talented musician. I'll put his YouTube channel in the top right hand corner, so you should be seeing that in there at some point, and I'll put the link to his Instagram as well, and you can check him out on Facebook, Sam Ostler. And Sam, I know you're watching this, I hope the shout out is good for you. You know, Sam, I've only ever seen 2 photos of him wearing jeans. Sam, go and check out my friends at Wrangler, please, wrangler.co.uk, and everybody else, could you do the same thing as well? You can do that while I'm going and putting down the oil spill kit. It's still quite difficult to pick up where I've put the track grime down, and I suspect it's going to need it. That's the second coat I've put on this area, so I suspect it'll need a couple more coats. And remember, I'm brushing it on, I'm not using an airbrush. But you can definitely see where the oil spill kit is, and that siding is absolutely fine and ready now for a locomotive to go in. So, without further ado, I think we should get a locomotive in there, and this time I'm going to put in there 47573, the London Standard Carrying Network South East livery. Now, I know that we're going to have the problem with the points, so I'm not at all bothered about that. Wrong way. Really the wrong way. Meant to put that into the siding. And it's now coupled up to 47628, so I've managed to uncouple it. I'm going to leave this cock up in so you can actually see that I managed to make a cock up. As I say, I know it's going to stop on this point. Too much power there, so that's really going to be a track cleaning job, but there we go. We've got 47573 in there, and as I say, I've got the track grime drying here. I haven't actually went and experimented on a scrap piece of concrete sheet to see how it will turn out dry brushing. I'm going to do that at another point, but I think what I will do is I'll get 47628 now into there, and I think that will look pretty good. See again, it's track cleaning job is needed there, so that's something that I'll do at some point in the future. See, that track grime is still taking its time to dry. And it'll be difficult to get the full effect at the moment. I think I'm going to have to let it dry and then come back to it at another time. But I'm quite happy with the oil spill kit. Now the reality with the track grime is it's not going to be going on all the parts of the layout, because the buffer stop ends of the station and some of the opposite ends of the platforms are going to have the oil spill kit put down, because that's where locomotives will be sitting the majority of the time. It will therefore be a case of track grime where the locomotive won't be sitting too much, oil spill kit where a locomotive will be sitting too much. One final shout out goes out to my friends in Glasgow, Just the Brave, a Glasgow based boy band. They've got their new single coming out at the time of the filming of this video, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do for Caden and Co. I'll put the link to their Instagram into the description below, and I would like you to go and check it out please, and could you please pre-order their first single. All details are on their Instagram. Caden, Danny and the rest of the boys will be very pleased if you could do that for them. It was great meeting them recently. Now I've filmed quite a lot this month, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to call it to a halt there. I'm going to finish off the video with footage of the push-pull set getting propelled into platform 1 by 47708 Waverley, and I'm doing that because next month, the August update, will see me taking up platforms 1 and 2 and replacing them with brand new platforms 1 and 2. And as a little sneak preview for you all, we have that kit. I'll be doing through a build through with you in various stages on this, and unlike my first attempt where I rushed the job completely, I will not be rushing the job this time. I will be taking my time with it and making sure the job is done properly, and I'll be adding a little bit of furniture to the platforms as well later on in the programme, and we'll also be taking a look at the track grime again here on the depot area, just to see how it's looking, and I'll be discussing how best I can deal with this area here inside the depot shed. That's all to come in the August update, and before the August update you'll also get a video from me attending the Cooper Model Railway Show, which will be getting held at the Corn Exchange. Now, there's full details of that on the Cooper Model Railway Club website and on their Facebook page. Please do go along and support this show, which is the largest one in Fife. It's on 2 levels at the Corn Exchange in Cooper. So please do go along, and if you happen to see me, pop all over and say hello to me. I'll be very pleased to meet you. You'll see that video later on in July. So that's the end of this month's update. I hope you've enjoyed it. As I say, I'll be back next month with another update for you. In the meantime, please, whatever you're doing, do take care of yourselves, won't you? And enjoy your lates, and we'll see you soon. Cheerio.